Welcome to the deep dive. Ever wonder what truly goes into the price of your morning coffee? Beyond the aroma and, the caffeine kick, there's a surprisingly complex and volatile world shaping your daily brew.
Exactly. Our deep dive today is all about unpacking the recent, often surprising movements in global coffee prices. We've pulled insights from a pretty comprehensive stack of sources, including a detailed market update from ZoneCafeFM to explore the interconnected economic, political, and even environmental factors. All these things are constantly reshaping this vital commodity for you.
Okay, so to understand this volatility, let's first ground ourselves with the latest market snapshot. This is from August 6th, 2025. Arabica on the New York floor saw a strong surge. The September 2025 contract is nearing 300 US cents per pound. It's up over 3.5%.
Wow, quite a jump.
Yeah, but Robusta on the London floor, however, showed more mixed movements. September 2025 saw a slight dip, but November 2025 actually gained a bit. And what's particularly striking is the spread between Arabica and Robusta for September. It's sitting at over 140 US cents per pound.
That's a huge gap.
It really is. Tells us a lot about the differing supply dynamics, I think.
And it's not just a global market story either.
Yeah.
Domestically, in Vietnam, we've seen a consistent uptick. Coffee prices universally rose by 1,000 Vietnamese dong per kilogram, right across all regions.
Okay.
They're now averaging about 101,000 dong per kilogram. So a strong local signal there, too, indicating pretty robust demand within Vietnam itself.
Right. But these numbers, they aren't moving in a vacuum, are they? Underneath them are these powerful economic and political currents. We've had recent hints from U.S. monetary policy. Well, the Federal Reserve San Francisco governor suggesting they might act too late if they wait. And this plays into the low DXY, the U.S. dollar index, which is currently around 98.54. When the dollar weakens, dollar-denominated commodities like coffee become cheaper for international buyers.
Right, generally boosting demand.
Exactly. Boost demand and thus prices, usually.
And what's fascinating here is the ongoing U.S.-Brazil trade tension. The U.S. is considering tariffs on Brazilian coffee. Still considering. Though the U.S. Commerce Department seems open to waivers, pending negotiations, so it's not set in stone. But on the flip side, China has just opened its market to 183 Brazilian coffee exporters.
Okay, that's interesting.
It is. But while that's good for Brazil, it's really crucial to note that China is unlikely to fully replace the U.S. I mean, the U.S. imports about a third of Brazil's total coffee exports.
A third? Wow.
Yeah, that's a massive market share Brazil stands to potentially lose or, needs to protect.
So, okay, we've covered the macro forces. Let's zoom in now on the supply side realities. The fundamentals from major producing regions. In Brazil, Arabica stock on ICE, that's the Intercontinental Exchange, has fallen to a 14.5-month low. It's sitting below 750,000 bags now.
Pretty tight.
Yeah. Yet their harvest progress is, well, impressive. Arabica is at 74% complete, according to Kugubi, a major co-op.
Right.
And the total harvest is at 90% per Safras, which is a key agricultural consultancy, so they're getting it harvested.
Meanwhile, in Vietnam, recent rains in the Thanh Nguyen region are finally helping coffee plants recover after that prolonged drought.
Yeah.
This could alleviate some short-term price pressure, maybe, though some farmers are anticipating lower yields.
Right.
But paradoxically hoping for higher quality beans because of the stress.
Interesting trade-off.
Yeah. And Brazil isn't resting either. You mentioned the harvest, but ZoneCafe, the Brazilian Coffee Exporters Council, and Santos Port are actively working to improve logistics, trying to reduce those bottlenecks, which is crucial for getting all that harvested coffee out to the market efficiently.
Absolutely. So beyond the macro trends in supply, how are individual companies and even countries navigating this? You look at companies like JDE Peet's in the Netherlands. They saw a remarkable 21.5% revenue increase with only 1% volume growth.
Wow.
That's not just a number. It powerfully underscores coffee's sort of inelastic demand, doesn't it? Consumers are willing to pay more.
It gives brands significant pricing power, even when supply is tight.
Definitely. And a really success story. Uganda impressively doubled its coffee revenue to over $2.2 billion by June 2025.
That's fantastic for them. And, from a consumer perspective, there's a quirky insight from the UK. It suggests that journalists are, perhaps unsurprisingly, the top coffee drinkers, averaging over 3.5 cups a day.
Huh. Sounds about right.
And nearly 70% of people they surveyed admit their productivity dips significantly without their morning coffee. So for many of us, it's not just a beverage. It really is an essential tool.
No kidding. Okay, so what does this all mean for the future of your brew? Leon Bùi, a market analyst, has some interesting Robusta price forecasts specifically for Vietnam. He's predicting a potential rise from the current 100,000, 103,000 dong per kilogram range in August, to potentially 115,000, 125,000 dong by September, October,
Hmm.
and maybe even hitting 130,000, 145,000 dong by December if these current trends persist. That's a big potential jump.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this raises an important question. What could push prices even higher? You've got factors like London Robusta nearing, say, $3,800 per ton, Arabica on ICE staying above that 300 cents per pound mark.
Right.
Potential Fed rate cuts, weakening the U.S. dollar further, that continued decline in ICE stock we mentioned, and increased speculative buying. All those could fuel the fire.
But there are risks too, right? It's not a one-way street.
Absolutely. We must also consider the risks of reversal. Things like unexpectedly favorable weather in Vietnam leading to an early harvest, speculative funds deciding to take profits after September, maybe the Fed delaying those rate cuts, which would strengthen the dollar,
Okay.
and also the scenario where Brazil rapidly shifts exports to China while Vietnam tries, maybe struggles, to fill the gap left in the U.S. market. It's a really delicate balance of factors.
So what does this all mean for you listening?
Well, the global coffee market is just incredibly dynamic. It's often unpredictable, driven by this complex interplay of economic, political, environmental, and even corporate forces. Every single cup tells a story. Exactly. And as these global and local pressures continue to shift and evolve, maybe the question is, how might our daily coffee habits and the entire coffee supply chain adapt and change in response? Something to ponder over your next cup.